So the first thing we're going to do is take off this whole front assembly. The reason why we want to do that is because it'll make getting to the timing belt a lot easier. This way I can set the timing belt properly. Yes, it's going to require several more hours of work, but I think it's totally going to be worth it. I'll show you why it's going to be totally worth it. Now if you look in here, you will see there, that's all the space we have. At this point, I think it's worth mentioning that it is possible to remove the timing belt and do the timing belt without removing the whole front clip. But as I mentioned, it does make the job easier. Okay, so we are getting under the car. What we're going to be doing under here is draining the coolant. So right here, you have your alternator right there. You can see the belt right there. And we're going to go over a little bit to the side to that valve right there. That is the valve we're going to use to drain the coolant from the radiator. The reason we want to do that is because the radiator right here, it's right up behind here, is attached to this front thingamajig. So let's just unscrew this. Hopefully your plug is not broken. What you're supposed to do is pull down and twist. Before we start getting into any of this electrical stuff, make sure your battery is disconnected. And now we will proceed with removing the headlight. I'll show you how to do one. The procedure for the other headlight is very similar. Okay, with a Torx T30, we're going to remove 3 screws. There should be one right here. There's not. It's missing. There's one right here, and there's one more right in between there. You can't really make it out, but let me see if I can get you a better view. You can kind of see the top of it right there. It's over there in the corner, so I'm going to take those out and we'll keep going. And I forgot one more screw. There's actually one more right over there. So it's right in between the power steering reservoir and right back in there. You can't really make it out, but I'll show it to you once I get the headlight out. So there's the hidden bolt I was telling you about between the power steering pump and the headlight. And there is the other one right over there. And to disconnect the light, all we need to do is remove the plug right back there. That's the only wire holding it in. We just have to press on it. And there we go. It's out. We have a huge opening now. So I'm going to go do that to this other side and we'll keep going. Okay, so now we're going to remove the fog lights. I'm going to reach under here. What you can also do is use a screwdriver to pry up on the little tabs and give it a little yank. Like that. Okay, so one thing I want to try is taking off the bumper without having to remove the lower lip. The reason I see it is because somebody's already broken these clips on here, and I don't want to break things anymore. So I'm going to just slowly start going around the perimeter, removing anything that's getting in the way from removing the bumper. One of the things I'm going to start doing is right here. If you follow right here on the side, there are screws, probably about 2 or 3 of them holding in the bumper. So we're going to get those off. Those are probably about 10 or 12 millimeters. I'm going to get those taken off and we'll see what's up. Okay, so I removed the 2 nuts. These are 10 millimeters. And this thing's coming out a lot easier. What I'm going to start doing is removing some of the electrical. This right here is for the, we have right here a windshield washing cleaning thing, or a headlight cleaner thing. And if you look right in here, what we got to remove here is a hose. What else do we have here? We have some electrical junk that needs to be removed. To remove this hose, I'm not sure how I want to do this. I think it might be easier just to remove the whole assembly from all the way down in there. There's a connector that goes straight to it, so it might be easier to go that way. Otherwise, it looks like there's just some electrical. Basically, what I want to try to do is disconnect the least amount of stuff. If I have a little bit of extra stuff on here, that's okay. I just don't want to have to reconnect a lot of things. So we're going to start by disconnecting some random wires here and there. For example, we have one wire right in here that's already been broken. We're going to disconnect that one, and that one looks like a fairly big one. There's another one. There's a couple in here that need to be disconnected. Okay, so one more thing I found. Right under here, yeah, there's that one bolt. It attaches to the aluminum rail. You need to remove that one. There's two of them. Let me quickly get that one off, and we'll see if we can pull off the bumper. Okay, so once you have both of the hex bolts that I showed you down here, there's one on this side and one on the other side, unscrewed. You don't have to take it all the way out, just unscrew it enough to the point where it's not holding. You can theoretically just grab and pull this whole thing out. Okay, so when I was removing, this is the washer fluid. It's literally just two clips right here. Right there. You squeeze them out and push down, it pulls up. These are the two connectors holding all the electrical stuff in. You get those out and you pull it out. Let me show you the bolts. And these are the bolts. They're literally, it just hangs here. So these just hold in the front, and we have now access to the rest of the system. One of the things I see right here is we're going to need to disconnect this hose right here. Goes to the condenser. What else do we have? We're going to, removing these three should take off the whole system. We need to remove this bolt right here, those two up here. On this side of the engine, there's a little bit of electrical stuff I see. This guy right here, that connector right here. As you can see, this thing is leaking because I didn't take it off good enough. I guess we're gonna go forward, and these are the two connectors I told you about. So I guess I'm gonna start disconnecting some of this electrical stuff. Disconnect the radiator hoses because radiator comes out as well with all this stuff. Okay, so I think this is a really good idea, showing you right here. This is what I'm going to do up at the upper radiator hose. The reason I'm doing it down here is so that you can actually see what I'm going to do. So we're going to just pull up on this tab. The procedure for the upper hose is going to be very similar. It's probably going to be the exact same. Pull that up, and there's that. And the upper hose is going to be very similar, except it's this much tighter fit. So one downside of taking off this whole front end clip is that you will need some way to recover your AC. You have to remove it from the condenser or from the whatever the cooling thing. So I got one of the lines out. It was a hex 5, and I noticed several other lines right here that I'm going to remove. There's one down right here. You have to reach it from the other side. It's also size 5. There's one up higher, right up here. It's also size 5. So I'm going to start from the top one and work my way down. Okay, so to be honest with you, that was a pain to get to, guys. Like, seriously, it was a pain to take this guy out because of how much little room there is. But anyway, to get more space, what you can do is loosen the 3 bolts. You can see 2 of them in the picture. Loosen them, and that'll give you a little bit more playroom. I think right now is probably a good time for a commercial break because I don't know how long this stuff's going to be dumping out for. Oops. You will need to adjust your bucket to make sure it actually makes into the bucket. This is going to be a mess. I don't know, let me smell what this stuff is. Stuff looks like transmission fluid. I want to say it's transmission fluid. So we're going to give it a moment to drain out. We need to let this side completely drain out because regrettably the other side, it also has a couple wires. Actually, let me show you right now how this stuff's draining. So if you follow these two wires back, they actually connect to right here. And I'm going to need to remove these two, and I'm fairly confident that it's going to be dumping oil out too. So while I was sitting there and thinking, what am I going to eat? I had a revelation. I remembered that I had 2 buckets. So I'm going to have one bucket stand under that one side. I'm going to put another bucket right here, and we're going to quickly take this guy off. And then, while this whole thing is draining, then we're going to go on a lunch break. And that should give it enough time. Okay, so out of all the wiring and everything, I think the last thing I need to remove is this guy right here. We've loosened all the lines I could find, or at least see. So I think, let's take this guy off real quick. Okay, now that that's been done, I guess I'm gonna just, for the heck of it, let's just try to remove it, see what happens. We're gonna use this is a Torx 45. Let's try to use it and see what happens. One more thing I wanted to point out on how to unclip the this thing, the hood latch. You literally, it hangs on like so, and you just literally pull this backside clip like that. You see that? It moves. Pull it and it unclips itself, and you just pull it back and it comes out. Okay, so hood holder's moved over. I have unlatched the hood lock, so let's go for it. Okay, well, there you go. I took off the front end clip. I just proved that you can do it by yourself. I did do it by myself. I made a huge mess while I was at it, but hey, at least I did it. If I was a little bit better prepared for all the stuff that was going to pop out, maybe this wouldn't have been as bad as it was. Next video, we are going to be setting the top dead center, and then we shall go from there.